step stool. Can you put it on the step stool and then you can bring it up? And you can put it back up. Do I need the step stool? I don't think so.
Oh, so we should move? Where do we go, Greg? Until the end, right? Okay. 4 o'clock, we're back here. All right.
We're late. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to start. My name is Mona Monroe, and I have the pleasure of being a member of St. Luke's Catholic Church and a committee member for Mosaic Interfaith. I want to give you a warm welcome to everyone here and those who are watching us on live stream. We'll start now with a land acknowledgement. Mosaic Interfaith respectfully acknowledges that we are on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credit First Nation, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Huron-Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Thank you very much. We're going to start with Old Canada, and Greg will lead us. Our choir director will lead us.
You people are good. I didn't even have to ask you to stand. Thank you. Remember, it's all of us command. Great start.
Good afternoon. My name is Fran Isaacs, and I, with Chabni Suji, are the co-chairs of Mosaic Interfaith. We're so pleased to be able to be here in person at St. Luke's for this year's annual Peace Meal. Since 1980, Mosaic has been one of the best-kept secrets in the world of interfaith cooperation, and our Peace Meal has been a central program. The Peace Meal provides a unique opportunity to visit different places of worship, learn from each other through a central theme, and then break bread together so that we can meet each other face to face. Our theme this year is promoting cultural understanding through religious art. I want to thank Patricia Little for speaking to her good friend Mona Monroe about a project that she had been involved in, Tapestry of the Spirit, the Torah Stitch by Stitch, and suggesting that they should think about how they might do something to showcase this unique project which brought together people of different faiths from across the world, and our steering committee for working so hard to pull it together. Throughout time, we have used various art forms to acknowledge our stories and aspirations. The earliest on record are cave paintings and indigenous art. The Torah, Judaism's sacred writings, gives detailed instructions on how to build the Ark and traveling Mishkan, as well as the priest's sacred vestments, by using artisans with skills in working in the different materials to construct and beautify the holy space. Illuminated manuscripts in the age before the printing press were used to illustrate sacred teachings. I also want to thank Pope Leo and King Charles for the historic worship together in the Sistine Chapel recently. The broadcasting of this historic moment exposed the world to the spectacular artwork that beautifies that sacred space. Adverts for exotic places include sacred buildings like the Blue Mosque. And for those of us lucky enough to visit far-off places, we gravitate to sacred sites to gaze in awe at the craftsmanship and beauty created by human hands and minds to honor the sanctity of that space. These are physical spaces, but beautiful hymns help our spirits soar and help express our yearning for the divine. Textile art like that in the Torah Stitch by Stitch project, or the religious vestments worn by clergy, visually connect us to a holy message. Many religions include poetry, meditation, breathing, and dance to help us focus our intention. Today, our esteemed speakers will share how their faiths use these various forms to create spiritual connections to the divine, and we invite you to view the displays later during the peace meal. I would like to now call up Mona again to introduce our keynote speaker, Patricia Little.
Thank you, Fran. Patricia Little is one of 3 leaders of the Torah Torah Stitch by Stitch project, a collaborative, inclusive art project founded by the late textile artist Tema Gentilis. Pat states that since childhood, I've always had a needle in my hand, whether it was in embroidery, cross-stitch, garment making, knitting, crochet, quilting. So when I was introduced to the Torah Stitch by Stitch project, I immediately signed up to stitch a panel. It was a perfect match for me because I had always wanted to participate in work with a substantial meaning. Pat met Tema and offered to volunteer in the project, and within a short time was working to establish a method to sew all the panels together. At the time, she never thought it would become a full-time job. The responsibility of teaching groups of women how to assemble all these units came her way. It was very precise work and very rewarding, she says, to see it all coming together. It's my great pleasure to introduce my friend and stitcher, Pat Little.
Thank you, Mona, for that lovely introduction. And there are a lot of truths in her words. I've been part of this project for, I think I'm in my 12th or 13th year now, and it has been a great pleasure and honor for me to be part of that, and as well today to be enjoying sharing with all of you what went on with the Torah Stitch by Stitch project. If you could imagine if cloth or cloth instead of parchment, thread instead of ink, and needles instead of a quill. This is the extraordinary story of how women launched a global project to create a grand embroidered Torah. In 2013, Canadian Judaic textile artist Tema Gentles envisioned a way for everyday people, especially women, to engage creatively with sacred text. In a moment she later called inspired lunacy, she declared, "Let's stitch Torah." With the assistance of a sofer from Jerusalem, Tema designed Hebrew letters for cross-stitch and formatted the text of the Torah into 1,464 segments. Each was 4 verses long. She chose a color palette for optional images and embellishments. You can see the color palette up there of the thread. Each person got a 14-inch square of Aida cloth, a needle, some black embroidery floss, and a paper chart with their 4 verses. At 60 to 100 hours of painstaking stitchery for just one set of verses, it seemed impossible to imagine that we would ever get through the entire 5 books of Moses. However, thanks to word of mouth and a brief mention in the Hadassah magazine, the project went quickly viral. Soon, hundreds of participants were eager to take part. At 4 verses per person, we would need at least 1,464 stitchers. And they came. They came not just in number, but in spirit. From 27 countries around the world, you can see on the map here, right across the entire globe, people came, and they stitched their portions. Pardon? Go closer to it? Okay. There we go. Is that better? From 27 countries around the world, 1,400 individuals, women and men, young and old, religious and secular, contributed their time, their creativity, and their passion. They shared their stories, reflected on their verses, embellished panels with personal meaning, and created beautiful illuminations. Over a 10-year period, they collectively stitched the entire Torah. The entire embroidered Torah finished in 2023, in the middle of COVID. It's composed of 1,650 individual panels of text and images, hand-stitched together into 234 7-foot columns. You can see here 3 columns stitched together, 7 feet long, tall, and 4 feet across. If we put the entire Torah together, it's going to measure 100 yards long. If you think of that, it's the length of a football field. So it's quite an inspiring and wonderful project. It's a stunning fulfillment for both Tema's grand vision and the exquisite details created by its many makers. This is how the units all put together look. We had an exhibit in 2019 at the Textile Museum of Canada. We showed there the books of Genesis, Exodus, and part of Deuteronomy. Oh, I'm not speaking to the mic. I'm not used to this, pardon me. You can go to the next slide. We showed a very early part of this showing at the Temple Darhei Noam. And then the next slide. This is again at the Textile Museum. These are 2 extra pieces which we did. It was connecting the Abrahamic faiths. So that's Christianity, Judaism, and Quran. And I think that's all the slides. I do have a couple more things to say. Thank you, Greg. We have brought samples, which you'll see in the other room, of the Torah and the piece from the Quran, and also the piece from the Gospels. The Gospels is stitched in an ancient form of Greek, and the Quran is stitched in, I believe, Kufic stitch. We have books. I'll remind you again, we have catalogs for everybody to take home, and it's very, very good read. We also have, we're going to show a film in a minute, but we also have, whoops, here, another little handout which gives lots of contact information about the project. So when we had the initial showing at the Textile Museum, a film was made, a documentary. It is called Stitchers, A Tapestry of Spirit. And it was featured in the exhibition at the Textile Museum. I've brought a copy of that here today, and I think if Greg is ready, we'll show you this film. It's about 15 minutes long. Listen carefully to the words. I think you'll find some little secrets in there that you'll enjoy. And I'll be back to you in 15 minutes. Thanks.
As an artist, I was rejected from a museum show in Israel for not being religious enough in the traditional sense of religious. So I thought, what can I do to help women, particularly, express their love of religion in a particularly female way of expression? And I thought, well, let's stitch Torah.
Tema asked if I would do the very first panel, which is the opening verses of Genesis, which describe creation. So I started looking at images of the Earth from space, and then came across a satellite image of Hurricane Sandy as it was moving across the northern hemisphere. And it called me. The stitching became a very meditative activity. I really got to think about the words around creation. These mythic stories that are created by these words are really remarkable. And being part of something that was a project that was going to involve hundreds of people all over the world, each stitching square by square the letters of these stories, was really an amazing thing to think about.
The Torah is the Hebrew Bible. It's our story and God's message to us, and then it becomes universal as well to the world. Because from there comes also ethical teachings and 10 Commandments that is shared among nations. Torah is a foundational text, not only for the Jewish people, but also for Christianity and Islam.
No, I made raspberry tea. So that's the graphic.
Yeah. It's cool to see how Tema started this with the block coloring. I think if anyone saw me doing it, it was just kind of a cool crafty thingy, but I think a lot of the grown-ups who knew about the project and saw me doing it thought it was amazing that a teenager wanted to do it. It's something that takes a lot of time and energy and effort, and anything like that, you're gonna feel really connected to.
People can register on the website. After somebody is paid, we send them out a kit that includes their particular portion, because each person is doing 4 verses of the Torah.
This is one of the sections where Moses, in trying to leave Egypt with the Israelites, keeps saying to Pharaoh in a pleading way, "Let my people go, let my people go." She's quite a neat stitcher.
When I first saw this, what do you mean there's a horse?
Each letter is like a puzzle.
We're going to have to attach a seam right here.
Somehow there's a way to put it all together, and it works.
So we're now at more than 1,500 stitchers in 22 countries, and literally of all faiths.
This is from Roseanne, who's our Mormon fire chief.
Including one woman who wrote to me and said, "This is a fabulous project. I'd like to participate in it, but I don't know that I qualify." And I said, "Why not?" And she says, "Because I'm an atheist." I said, "That sounds like a faith to me."
The Torah is the first part of the Bible. We are not alien from our Jewish brethren. They are our elder brothers and sisters. And if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here. This is quite simple logic as far as I can see. I'm very grateful to having the roots of my religion in the Torah. The whole world's just getting so full of violence and anger and ditching religion right, left and centre. All these women are getting together. They don't even know one another. And here they are sitting down peacefully, putting their stitches in stitch by stitch. And so religion isn't dead and God's not dead, because why would all these women join in doing the stitching?
I'm from Turkey. I grew up in a Muslim family. I have been in Canada exactly 10 years. I met with Tema in an interfaith program. I was really amazed the work and the idea, like how she created. I really believe that people, when they come together, they do something for one purpose, like together. In this world, especially in these times, it's really important people to know each other, because if you don't know, then you have fear.
This is animation of how it will be to walk through the exhibit. So we keep a fair amount of data on each stitcher. So when they register their email, their address, postal code, and their country. I didn't think I could be that organized.
I got involved because I wanted to stitch Torah. There was some instruction on the website. The fun of it was stitching and then saying, oh my God, I think I made a mistake, and then unstitching and correcting it. There was a peacefulness in that as well, if you can believe it, because, you know, life is not full of only perfect. Life is full of mistakes. Once I did start stitching, I couldn't stop, so I took it with me everywhere. I was stitching on the beach, and the other side of the Mediterranean is Israel and the Middle East in general. I could hear the sounds of the water. My mind wasn't anywhere else. My mind was with the stitching, the lettering, and bringing it through. That was something very special. I think religion has always caused so much violence. I think that people want peace. People generally want peace. And without peaceful connection, we got nothing.
This doesn't have my spit on it. You can lick on it. En la boca. Eso es.
Honestly, I have to say that this is my first day, with with the project.
So it will like that. No, you can't twist it. You gotta flatten it. It's gonna be flat.
The most difficult is to put the the thread in the aguja, in the needle.
You try and put the thread through the hole, not the hole through the thread. When someone puts effort into doing something, even if they're just like 27 thumbs, makes no difference. You just start taking away the thumbs and putting fingers in their place. I would stay with them until they had done their first letter. And then, once they had done their first letter, they realized they could do it, and they just kept right on going by themselves. Pasa por el otro agujero. Genial. There's about 15 of us throughout all of Spain. We did it on the internet, and we sat down with one of those kits you can buy at 5 and dime toy store, and it's the kind that has a card and has the holes punched in it. I use yarn, and on Skype, I showed him, you pull it through here.
I felt some kind of peace. I realized that every time I start sewing and stitching, I feel peace.
If this helps somebody get closer to their form of looking at the universe, why not? They don't have to be Jewish to do that.
Some of this, I think, will emerge in the next few months. So we're going to just defer that.
Just so you know a little bit about the stitchers and what's happening. We've got a couple of stitchers dying, including Michael. He's an old hippie.
He is, isn't he? God bless his soul.
You looked into getting charitable status in the States, right?
To create a nonprofit in the States will be about the same level of investment as creating a nonprofit in Canada.
The bottom line is we need money.
If any of you know of any particularly curatorial type people.
People who have experience with museums, who understand how they work, there's a whole business of exhibition that we need to understand if we're going to find our niche and how we fit into that world.
Unreal to me, right?
It does look fabulous.
And I hustled a couple of museums, and one is extremely interested. It's an extremely prestigious museum.
You'd like it to go to Israel?
I wanted to tour. I'd like it to start in Toronto.
It is amazing. I usually see one pieces or on the website, or when I do one small pieces, so it feels great.
Stitching the Torah was like no other experience. To be part of this community, whom I mostly don't know, really just an amazing feeling. I'm just getting shivers speaking about it.
fantastic and wonderful, and just like not something that anybody could have produced all by themselves. And I love that.
It's like a vision. It's like, you know, a birth of a baby kind of thing, seeing them come together.
It's for all of us. It exceeds any individual visions, I think, that we had. Every panel has your experience and your story, and it's amazing together. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
If it's not a tapestry of life, I don't know what is, right?
Thank you, everybody. I do hope you enjoyed our film. I think. Thank you. You probably didn't hear, but the lady who is the Muslim stitcher, she said she met Tema at an interfaith meeting. And I think that's really, here we are all together again. This project has really involved people from everywhere and every faith. And I think this is a good place to share it. I have a couple of just little quotes that came from stitchers that I thought you might appreciate. This is from one of our Jewish stitchers, Sandy. Sandy says, her most memorable experience was meeting the imam to ensure that there are no errors in the few Quran verses that we assembled. I corrected tiny stitches here and there, right in the Islamic center, until he was satisfied. So that was her best part of being part of this project, and she was involved for years. Here's a comment from a Muslim stitcher. Dear Mrs. Tema Gentles, it was a great pleasure for me to be part of this wonderful event. I tried to do work with the conscience of worshiping. When I was handling the work, I was always careful to have ablution because I thought this was the words of God. I tried to show the same respect to the work as I show to Quran. Best regards. And the last comment, this is from our Jewish stitcher, Lily. Lily stitched a panel in memory of two young sisters, Fabriona and Marina Fahim. They were murdered in a terrorist attack on El Bourrosia Church in Cairo on December 11th, 2016. Lily writes, I learned about this terrible event from the doorman in our building. He was the uncle of the two girls. I resolved to weave their story into our tapestry. This panel is in the gospel section, which you will see later in the hall. It represents the Coptic windows, which are above the entrance to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. There's many stories like this throughout the entire Torah. You can imagine that over 1,500 different panels, there are 1,500 different stories. I'm very proud to be here and sharing it with you today. And I'm also very proud to have been part of this project. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope to see you in the other room. We have copies of this wonderful catalog, Tapestry of Spirit, and there's a couple of us there that will be happy to answer any of your questions and tell you more about the project. So thank you so very much. Steal somebody else's paper.
Thank you so much, Pat.
Oh, you're very welcome.
It boggles my mind because I can never, I can hardly, yeah. I used to be able to do, but trying to thread a needle is too hard in these days. But That was fascinating, and I remember hearing of Tema Gentles in the old days. I guess when it was was happening, I must have heard something about it, but I didn't know she had passed away. Oh. Okay. Okay, our next speaker is from the Zoroastrian congregation, Kenaz Sidwa.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kaina Sedwa, and I'm honored to represent the Zoroastrian community at this year's Mosaic Interfaith Peace Meal. It's a privilege to gather with you all in the spirit of dialogue, understanding, and shared humanity. Today's theme, promoting cultural understanding through religious art, resonates deeply with the topic I've been invited to speak on, Monajat, which is a cherished form of devotional expression in Zoroastrianism. So what are Monajats? Monajat is a Persian word meaning whispered prayer or intimate supplication. In Zoroastrian tradition, Monajats are poetic prayers composed in Gujarati or Persian, often sung or recited in the quiet hours of dawn or dusk. They are not part of the formal liturgy, but are deeply personal, heartfelt expressions of faith, humility, and longing for divine guidance. These prayers are typically passed down orally, and many of us remember hearing them from our grandparents or elders, softly sung in the kitchen or recited before bedtime. They reflect themes of gratitude, moral reflection, and the eternal struggle between good and evil, which are the core tenets of our Zoroastrian belief. But Monajats are more than just words. They are artistic expressions of faith, often set to melody, invoking emotion and reflection. In this way, they beautifully align with today's theme. Like the beautiful Torah stitch-by-stitch project that we heard about a few minutes earlier, Monajats represent how art becomes a vessel for spiritual connection, a way to transmit values, stories, and devotion across generations. In a world where religious art often takes visual form, in the form of paintings, architecture, textiles, Monajats remind us that auditory art can just be as powerful. Their lyrical beauty and melodic cadence create a sacred space, even in the absence of temples or ritual objects. They are portable sanctuaries of the soul. For those unfamiliar with Zoroastrianism, it is one of the world's oldest monotheistic religions, founded by Prophet Zarathustra over 3,000 years ago. At its heart is the belief in Asha, truth, order, and righteousness, and the call to live ethically through good thoughts, good words, and good deeds. Monajats embody this ethos, offering gentle reminders to walk the path of light. In our increasingly diverse and interconnected world, Monajats offer a bridge, not just within our community, but across faiths. They show how art and prayer can transcend boundaries, inviting us into each other's spiritual landscapes with empathy and reverence. So as we share our vegan meal today, let us also share in the richness of our traditions. Let us listen not just to words, but to the melodies of devotion that echo across cultures. And let us remember that at every whispered prayer, sung verse, or stitched scripture, there's a common thread: the human yearning for peace, purpose, and connection. To conclude, we invite you to experience a Zoroastrian Monajat titled Khudavande Khavind, which will be playing in loop on display later during the course of the event. May its gentle rhythm and heartfelt words offer a glimpse into the soul of our tradition. I would now like to invite Mr. Ranbir Singh Parhar to speak on behalf of the Sikh community. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kainaz. Good afternoon, friends and fellow seekers. I guess we are here to seek something. It is an honor to share my thoughts on this topic, on this theme, which resonates very well with all of us. And the theme being how religious art promotes understanding beyond our cultural barriers. Gurbani deploys various forms of art for its teachings to be visualized, felt, and shared. And Gurbani, by the way, is just not a compilation of hymns in the Guru Granth Sahib. It is more than that. It is a spiritual guidance. It is an anthology of poetic beauty, and it woves or weaves the intricate metaphysical matters into a beautiful tapestry. And Gurbani uses art to awaken us, to stir our insides, so that the truth illuminates in front of us beyond the barriers of language. At the heart of Gurbani is music. Music, we know, science tells us that the whole universe, every particle in the universe is vibrating in a simple harmonic motion from a scientific point of view. And that simple harmonic motion produces melody. Some of those melodies are heard by us, but there are other melodies which are beyond our auditory limits. They are called unstruck melody. Gurbani embraces both of them, the one that we can hear and the one that we cannot hear. And Gurbani is organized in Guru Granth Sahib as based on rag. Rag is that mode of music which can evoke in us a specific emotional state or a spiritual state. And it is for that reason that when Gurbani, the hymns, they are sung, it is called Kirtan, and Kirtan could go beyond language because it illuminates those truths in front of us. When we talk about music, music is an ancient tradition. Long before writing was invented, sacred thought was carried through music. For 11,000 years, the Hindu Vedas, they were progressing from generation to generation only through music. Writing wasn't invented at that time. Music, being the oldest art form, has always accompanied with sacred thought. Because music and sacred thought, just to take it a bit further, the gurus, they took the traditional instruments of music of the day, and they were like rabab, taus, or sarangi. They took it and they refined them and redefined the role in religious music. Today, Sikh musicology is a very respected subject across many universities throughout the world. And the beauty of music is that it calms your nerves, soothes your inside, and makes you available for taking the truth that might be coming your way. And many scholars call this one as Nad Yoga. You would have heard yoga. Yoga is union. Here it is Nad Yoga. Nad is sound. Combining ourselves or making ourselves one with the divine through sound. It is called Nad Yoga. And to make it the musical system perfect, Gurbani draws from folk melodies also. There are many forms of those melodies called sole, kodiyan, alaniyan, karhale. They are used to enhance the musical experience. And not only that, Gurbani employs various poetic forms of the East like dohra, sohla, swaya to enhance the rhythm as well as to enable internalizing the thought that is carried in that music. But Gurbani, let me tell you, is just not only music. It is a masterful storytelling. For storytelling, it uses various forms. For example, it uses metaphorical journeys as an example. The soul, human soul, is yearning to become one with God, and that yearning becomes a journey. It is a metaphorical journey. It also gives reference to historical things. For example, in 1528, when Babur attacked India, that detail is also in the scriptures. And then it is also using dialogue structure, just like almost like a Socratic method in which a question is asked and the answer is again a question. That question might be asked from the self to its own soul, from us to God, from us to our siblings, or from us, it could also be to the universe. And then there's parables and analogies that are used. For example, lotus growing in a muddy water, or a musk deer running after musk. It shows our spiritual ignorance. And then lastly, it might be showing some character archetypes, like a greedy man, not as a literal character, but as a model that we should be avoiding. Talking about art, one of the most prevalent metaphors that Gurbani uses is that of pottery. From pottery, we take clay. Clay is seen as material from which everything that a potter makes is made of. And here, taking divine creation into account, it says that it is the same material from which an ant is produced as well as an elephant is produced. So we talk about divine creation. And talking about the pottery metaphor, the kiln in which clay is fired is an indication of your testing. To impart strength to that clay, it has to be fired. We need that strength too. We need to go through that fire too. Then the potter's wheel itself is an indication of circle of birth and death. And the last thing about that is that a potter does not rush in his life. If he rushes, he won't be able to create good stuff. So it is an indication for us to take the time, just like the creator potter or the creator him would have taken. When we talk about imagery, Gurbani's imagery is very rich. It talks about the universe as a canvas and the creator as a painter. The paint is used, the canvas, the colors that it uses is virtues. And now, common motifs, as I said earlier, lotus, a form of purity, indication of purity. A mirror is an indication of introspection. And then fire as a form of transformation. In this way, Gurbani uses not only art to express faith, but also to propagate values and customs across generations and cultures. So today, as we gather in the spirit of interfaith dialogue, let us celebrate how art and scripture, whether through a brushstroke or melody, parable or a prayer, a stitch or a calligraphy stroke, let us use that to illuminate some truths in front of us so that we can unite and try to achieve that truth collectively. Thank you very much. At this moment, I'd like to invite Dr. Sharma, Ragini,
It looks like Regini hasn't arrived yet, so we're going to move along and invite Zakira Shairoz Jeff Dalia to talk about Islam.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate this opportunity today to speak about the expression of faith and culture in Islamic art. And I begin with a greeting that we Muslims begin with, which is a prayer of peace to all that they meet. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. So, Islamic art is an expression of faith and culture. And truly it has been inspiring to hear from leaders of faith here today who've shown us that this gift of art is truly an incredible tool that the Almighty Lord has given each of us to express our love in different ways. What an incredible tool to have for a human being, that when they want to express their love to their Lord, they can use their voice to sing, as we heard in the munajat description. They can use it in drawing and in paint, in architecture, and on wall hangings, etc., etc. The Islamic art world is vast. Islam as a religion began 1400 years ago. And so Islamic art changed in the sense that the rulers or the ruling forces that happened before, their art was different as opposed to what the Islamic art began as. Because Islam came to talk about the oneness of God and to move away from idol worship. And you'll see that this is a characteristic of Islamic art, that you will never see human beings depicted in Islamic art, nor will you see animals. You will see geometric patterns. You will see floral motifs, which talk about paradise. And then you will see this prevailing over all sorts of things. And there is one characteristic of Islamic art, the tendency to embellish an entire wall, an entire mosque, an entire carpet, leaving no space anywhere. It is one of the characteristics of Islamic art. I've brought some here to show you because art, much as we'd like to talk about it and be very academic about it, and my PowerPoint has so many academic things, art has to be experienced, doesn't it? Art has to be felt. And those who are very artistic, it's hard to understand them until they talk about, as we saw, when those who stitched the Torah in the video earlier, they talked about it giving them goosebumps. They talked about it being an earth-shattering experience, really. Because when you express something with color, with voice, with this holistic being that Allah has given us, God has given us, what happens is you do go into this ocean of awareness. Many things I've brought here today, and we will display them later on, but I just wanted to give you a glimpse of them. There is an artist right here in Toronto, a young lady who is a survivor of domestic abuse. And for her, her faith came out through art. And so she has developed textile and silky, these are called dupattas. These are drapings and veils that women wear. And for example, this particular one, the word is up here in Arabic and Urdu, up here somewhere. The word is aqs, which is reflection. And so this was her expression of how God is a reflection of what you think he is. And if you think of him as a blaming and punishing God, then that's what you will see. And there's a whole description, as artists tend to do, about what their art is all about. And she has pages and pages written about it, about how for her it was about coming out of that, those chains, and how her reflection changed over time, etc., etc. Then we have Islamic art, which uses the names of the Holy Prophet of Islam, the words from the Holy Quran. This is a name of God, and it has been calligraphized and it has been embellished. And you aren't necessarily supposed to be able to read the word because it has been embellished so much. On my left over there, far left, that's from Iran, and it has the name of the successor of the Holy Prophet of Islam, Imam Ali, and it has his name written in gems, in the Firoza gem. And as you can see, even the frame is decorated, and this is characteristic of Islamic art. The frame is decorated. I've brought a frame. So you can see it's embellished everywhere. And then this was pretty interesting. I wanted to show you as well. So in Islamic religion, there's a concept of the ark of salvation. And so the artist here has shown us this ark and with the names of God and the Holy Prophet, and that they are the ones who will take you in what is called the Safinatun Najat, the ark of salvation, which has also the grandson of the Prophet and his daughter and his successor Ali. So the 5 names are often in this ark that the artist has depicted. Another thing you'll see in Islamic art is the way a word is used in calligraphy and it ends up as a shape. So often, if you do see a lion, for example, it's depicting Ali as the lion of God. So it's not about a lion itself, but the name Ali becomes a lion. And it goes on and on. There are so many different things to show you. This is how the Holy Quran is kept on a stand. But as you can see, it's embellished with Islamic art on it. And so you will see that Islamic art shows itself in this, as well as in the holder that the Quran comes in. And you can see this is made of silver, and it has the name of God on it, and it's with calligraphy around it. And then the Quran itself, often the Quran is made of gems on it, and pearls and marble, etc. Let's go to the next slide, and I wanted to give you an idea of how the Islamic art is an expression of this sacred, and it is all about glorifying God, showing that He's one, and about nature and about paradise. And the oneness of God is the theme that you always see. Let's go to the next slide. As you can see here, the geometrical designs that you will see, characteristic of Islamic art, that it's used Islamic art, to foster an understanding of the culture, of the colorful mosaic of that culture. As well, it's about reflecting that rich history that the Islamic world has gone through, with different empires ruling it over the years. But as art is used even in Islamic art, it is a repository of cultural heritage and also transmission of knowledge. So you'll see the names of these personalities, these historical figures, and glorifying them and their attributes, glorifying the attribute of God. Let's go to the next slide. And Encyclopedia Britannica shows us how vast the word art is. It's not just a painting. It includes visual arts. It includes literature. It includes performing arts and music. It includes all sorts of things. Let's go to the next slide. So Islam is a way of life, and it shows this through art in various ways. Let's go to that next slide, where it talks about the 4 basic components of Islamic art. You'll see calligraphy, which is very well known. And then there's also the floral motifs that you often see, the vegetal patterns that is mentioned here. So you see calligraphy and these patterns and the geometric patterns. They are all on ceramic, they're on glass, they're on tile, they're on carpet. They are everywhere, and they're on Islamic architecture as well. Very interesting to see in pottery, in archways and doorways, on wood. And as I mentioned before, the figural representation of human beings you will not see. If you do see that, that's pre-Islamic art, or it's art from people who live in an Islamic land, but who are not necessarily Muslim. And this is also a characteristic of Islamic art, that it encompasses people who live in Islamic countries, but not necessarily Muslims, because it is such a rich history. Next slide. So there's a spiritual and philosophical component as we looked at, and you can see the name of God at the top, Allah, and then how that calligraphy is all around it. So again, art used to glorify God. Let's go to the next slide. I wanted to show you this. This is a mihrab. You will see it in every mosque. It looks like a doorway, but actually this is where the Muslims would face towards Mecca, but it's where they face when they're praying. If you look at the next slide, look at how embellished it is. Now, for the uninformed eye, it looks like drawings, but no, there are verses of the Holy Quran written over it. There's the name of the Holy Prophet and what he said, and he talked about the 5 tenets of Islam, etc., etc. And you can see, even with the 3D dimensional aspect of it, makes you feel like you're going into heaven and you're standing at God's door. And it's a beautiful entry full of embellishment and embroidery and calligraphy. Next one, next slide. So this one is actually from a museum, and dated 755, and it explains all that, with art. The artist will tell you all sorts of things. The next one is the stand of the Quran that I just showed you. Of course, mine from home is not as embellished as this one. This one even talks about the Prophet and the 12 imams that came after the Holy Prophet of Islam, etc. Now, to end, I want to talk about Islamic architecture, because I wanted to zoom in on this very exciting part of being a Muslim, where we get to visit mosques around the world. Those of you who've been to Turkey and other places around the world, even Spain has some beautiful mosques, right? Because Islam has really entered, as well as here in North America, we have some beautiful mosques. So next slide. This is the Prophet's Mosque in Saudi Arabia. This is in Medina. And as you can see, look at the archways. Look at everything is measured and geometrical in design. Next slide. This is the entrance. Look at the way the door is embellished. Islamic art, you can see it in every mosque, including the chandeliers. And if you notice, nothing is empty. Even the pillars have marble, but the marble also has some kind of art on it. Next slide. Look at these are the famous archways in that mosque. And when you stand in any hallway, it gives you a feeling as if you are entering this endless hallway. Feels like there's 1,000 archways. So it's quite, it kind of really makes you feel like you're standing at heaven's door. Next one, look at the carpets in this one. And every wall covering all Islamic art here. Next one, more of that, but then I wanted you to also see the ceiling here. And most of the time you'll see the names of God, which are 99, written in attributes of God up on that ceiling. Next one, again, that feeling, that illusion, 3D illusion that you get, it's a sensory illusion. Next one, I wanted to share a quick poetry. This is by the famous Dr. Allama Iqbal, an Urdu poet. So he says, "Bistar se utkar masjid tak na ja sake Iqbal." This is a style of poetry where the poet mentions his own name in it, as if he's telling himself, but it's also a way to make sure that his couplet is forever remembered. His name is right there. So, "Bistar se utkar masjid tak na ja sake Iqbal, ख्वाहिश रखते हैं कब्र से उठकर जन्नत में जाने की." And the meaning is that you're unable to get out of bed to go to the mosque, Iqbal, yet they wish to rise from the grave and enter paradise. So it's quite beautiful. Next slide. This is a contemporary poet. This is a young British poet, a good friend of mine. I wanted to bring people who are alive and their poetry to light and their art so that we could see art goes on. It's not just things that you see in the museum. And what does he say about God? "You are a guiding lantern in this world bathed in night. While all love is fleeting, your love puts the heart at ease. Were the keys to every door placed in my 2 hands, I'd still stand at your door, whispering, 'Accept me, please.'" It's quite chilling, I know, that love of God that is there. And I'm going to end with these beautiful pictures. Next one. This is the shrine of Imam Hussein, alayhi salam, the grandson of the Holy Prophet, buried in Karbala. People visit his shrine in millions. I was there in August, and the record numbers were over 22 million. That was on just one day in the year. But throughout the year, the shrine is full. But look at the artwork on the outside of that mosque. Next slide. This is a depiction of Imam Hussein's battle and when he was martyred. This is an Iranian artist. In 2018 has depicted this, where Imam is on the horse surrounded by people who are about to martyr him. And the next slide, it explains, it's called "The Sky Fell Down," this particular painting. Let's look at it again. Next slide. So as you can see that, it's showing how the world fell apart, the sky fell apart when the grandson of the Holy Prophet was martyred. Next slide, again, depictions of Karbala, the battle that the grandson of the Prophet lost. Again, this is art that makes alive historical scenes from the Islamic world. And then the next slide after that, a very famous painting from 1976, Mahmoud Farshian, depicting the horse of Imam Hussein when it comes riderless and all the ladies surround it. And he's basically signaling that the master has been martyred and the women are crying around him. So the next slide, this is the mosque where the holy shrine is of Imam Hussein. And look at even the minarets. This is all made of gold. And then the calligraphy as well as the geometry you see on the minarets. And look at all the people that you see around there at any given day. Next slide. This is the inside. Just 2-3 slides to show you. This place is worth visiting and it's open to the world. Many non-Muslims come there from every faith and people who don't believe in any faith as well. They all visit. Look at the carpets. Look at the calligraphy on the walls. Look at the chandeliers. Next slide. Look at the doorway. That's a gold doorway. Next slide. Again, this is a very 3D kind of entrance with lots of gold and calligraphy and verses of the Holy Quran. And the next slide, everything blue in this particular area of the shrine. Everything blue in the next slide as well. And then look at just the door. Next one. The artwork on the door. Pretty incredible. And these are made of solid gold. Next one. Again, a gold entrance. And then the next slide after that, we have the shrine of his successor, Imam Ali alayhi salam. Again, also that's made of all gold. Next one. And this is Iran, the shrine of the 8th Imam of Islam. This is in Mashhad. And it is it was the biggest mosque in the world, but it has just been, the one in Saudi is now bigger. And the next slide, and I think this is my second last slide. Look at the floors, look at the mirror work, the art of mirror work around on the walls, and every stair, every pillar, and the last one. This is the door, the gold door, that lets you enter into that shrine. So just the artwork prepares you for entering heaven and the oneness of God and glorifying God in every way possible. Thank you so much for your time.
So we're kind of off track now. We're going to invite Regini up to speak, and then we will have our Buddhist speaker following her.
Good afternoon, dear brothers and sisters. This is such a truly beautiful gathering where people of all faiths have come together to understand each other and express solidarity and love for each other, regardless of whatever faith we follow. As a Hindu, my presentation will be pretty shocking because I'm deeply aware that much that I will share may touch a raw nerve for you as Abrahamic faiths. So I'm going to beg your understanding, and I would really appreciate some questions. Can you start thank you. My name is Ragini Sharma, and I am the president of Kohi, the organization, and I'm so happy to be with Fran. I'm so grateful to be part of this beautiful Mosaic organization to promote harmony among interfaith groups. Can we go to the next slide, please? So in Hindu Dharma, so firstly, I want to mention to you that I don't like the word Hinduism. That's been imposed on us. We're not an ism. It's one of the oldest. There is no date for the start of the Hindu Dharma. It's an indigenous, very ancient knowledge with no beginning. And we are grateful to acknowledge that the knowledge has been passed down by oral tradition for thousands of years. We do have proof for almost 12,000 years, but we know that it's beyond time, and Hindu scriptures are very clear that we don't need to know. It's one of the mysteries. Hindu Dharma is all about celebrating paradoxes. So to say that you don't know is not a problem for us. So we're happy to say we don't know when we started. But I wanted to show you this picture. Art is not, I don't want to read what it said, but it's very much part of life. If you look around the world, you see how beautiful the world is. And for Hindus, every aspect, every plant, every flower, every tree, every river, every mountain, every insect, all beings, rocks, people, everything is only part of the divine. So we don't hesitate to worship any part of the divine. So that kind of thing sort of comes through in our daily life. So this picture is Rangoli. Has anybody heard of the word Rangoli? Yeah. So in the south part of India, Rangoli is, in the morning the ladies would get up, the women get up, They go outside. I see somebody nodding their head. They go outside, they sweep the floor, and they make these geometrical designs. They put, it's actually very mathematical. They put dots as a guide, and then they use rice powder to trace out these geometric designs. And they use rice water because they want to begin the day with thanking the insects and making an offering to the ants. Because in the morning, who are you going to give alms to? So you begin by just feeding the insects. It looks beautiful, it makes your entrance fresh and clean, and every day you sweep it out and start fresh. So it's an art. Some people do it every day, but of course on festivals it becomes very elaborate. And of course now with technology, Rangoli has become very popular in schools here in Canada during Hindu Heritage Month. By the way, it's November, it's Hindu Heritage Month. And children in schools do Rangoli art. They just love it. We, provide them with little sand, colored sand, and they go about making paintings. So it's one of the very popular activities in schools. Can we go next? So like I said, I think we would all agree from all faiths that every breath you take and every act that you do is in praise of God, divinity, whatever you want to call it. Would you agree to that? Each and every, yes. So we all have that in common. And in Hindu Dharma, music, art, dance, everything. I hope this gentleman is not walking out on my talk. He's offended. Sorry, just making a joke. So dance, is very ancient text called Natya Shastra. They describe dance, every mood of the dance, the eye movement, the hand movement, and most of the dances that are done in tradition were done in the praise of embodying. So basically, if you're dancing to Lord Shiva, you would then take the form of the Shiva. You would really concentrate on Shiva's aspect. If you were doing something on, a lot of people are walking out. I'm getting a little worried about this. I'm sorry to see. So, if you were doing Mother Goddess, you would then try to bring that qualities in you and do the expressions that would bring those in you. So it's all in praise, and you want to feel that quality of that deity within you. So next, please. So if you go to, I love the beautiful images of the mosques that you showed. Those were beautiful. I didn't put too many because we have temples on every street corner, and some are magnificent. Unfortunately, due to the hatred for iconoclasts and presentation of images of God, over the 1,000 years of colonization, in parts of India, all the ancient temples were razed to the ground. From where I come from, we don't see any of the ancient art of the temple buildings because they were razed to the ground because of the belief that that's not the proper way to practice your faith. So, but some in the south where the invaders didn't make it have survived. So this one is like very famous temples, 1,500 years ago, I don't know. Some ancient, and you can see, oh, another person's walking away, sorry. So there are, in the making of the temple, there is very famous treaties, there are ancient texts, there are thousands of years old that teach you how. It talks about the sun, the moon, the orientation, where the energy comes from, and how it goes around. So a lot of the art in temples is written in sacred texts, And every deity that we have, for example, Lakshmi or Durga or any of the deities, underneath, when their deities are consecrated in a temple, there is a yantra, which is a geometrical design, which is a scientific way to attract cosmic energies to enliven that. I know it's maybe not something that you've read about, but I'd encourage you to read about yantras. So every deity that's in the temple is actually a living deity, if it's in the temple. Otherwise, people you'll see have, that's not what I'm talking about. So inside the temple, even the temple floor sits on a certain geometric design to download cosmic energy. So there's a lot of science behind it, which modern science is discovering. Now you'll see a lot of work being done. Thank you. Next, please. This is a new, you can see that art as a spiritual practice. This, like I was saying, how there's ancient texts that teach about how to make the murti. We cannot call them idols. Idols is a derogatory word. We don't accept that word. They are deities. We call them murtis or vigrahas. And when they are consecrated, this is from the Ram Mandir, which was recently built. I've actually been to this temple, and you'll see the amount of art that's gone into it. You see the garlands, the jewelry. I mean, the whole thing is a feast for the eyes. So every aspect of the temple is meant to invoke all the five senses. Hearing, we have, I think parts of it is in Christianity as well, the incense, the water, so all of it is there, the flowers. So you see, you hear, you smell, and because you engage all the senses through the art, it takes you to the present moment where there's joy, where you can be completely present. Because if you know the nature of the mind, the stress comes from being either in the future or in the past. So what this art in the temple does, it completely arrests you with its beauty, and then you're completely one-pointed, and the murti gives you that one-pointed. In Hindu Dharma, one of the ways to meditate is to be one-pointed, like you have in Christianity, you have the cross, or in Islam you might have the Allah sign. As soon as you see it, it gives you that one-pointed attention, and you completely relax, and that all the thoughts go away. So that's the whole purpose of it. And these murtis, this is a very famous Ram temple. It was razed to the ground, and it took 500 years in Supreme Court to get back that piece of land and reconsecrate this image. I actually saw this on TV live, the consecration of this across India. And this face, I actually witnessed the murti, after it was consecrated, looked very different. It was as if the life form of Sri Ram had entered into that body. And when you go to the temple, you feel the presence of that. So art is not something you do. It's not something for entertainment. It's something that brings you close to divinity. Because beauty, the nature of beauty is it expands the heart. It melts the heart. And creating art is an expression of devotion, of love to the divine. That's where the roots of art in India come from. Thank you. Next one, please. Music is very, very big in India. Very, very big. And it's interesting that in our prayers, it's very different when we say our prayers. Our prayers, the Sanskrit ancient texts, the prayer has to be said in a certain way. So, Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu. This is a food prayer. But if you were to go across India, every Pandit, every householder will say it in that exact way, because one of the 4 Vedas is called Samaveda, and it's the unwritten, it was downloaded from, from space, this knowledge, and it explains the vibration. Sound is a vibration, it has an effect on your body. So it has an effect on your body. So there was a whole research done by yogis on how the sound affects the body. So for every puja, for every religious ceremony, there's a certain prayer. So music in India originates from Samveda. Of course, it's very diverse across the whole of India. But every holy script is written in rhythm. It has to be read and said in a certain way, because sound is a vibration. The way you say it will have an impact on the mind and the body. And so if you want a peacefulness, you have to say it in the right way. It's an oral tradition. Go ahead. I think I'm in the last one. So drama, it also is written as a sacred text. Talks about, for example, 9 different, moods or emotions. They are described. And so in the dance, so the Ramayana, in the ancient, maybe 2,000 years, Hindu dharma and Buddhist dharma was spread across the whole of Asia. And the Ramayana, which is the story of Sri Ram, is still, despite the changes in religions across that area, is still enacted, because it's a beautiful play of Sri Ram. And so drama is very much part of another form of expressing devotion. So the dancer is not doing it because they want their ego. The painters are not doing it because they want to be appreciated. It's an expression of love. You're not singing something because you think you're so fabulous singer. It's because you are expressing your art in praise of the divine. Thank you for listening. I think I'm at the end of it. Is there another one? I didn't want to go over time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I hope towards the end you'll have some questions for me. And I appreciate being here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dai Sun Wei Shi, a disciple of my respected Venerable Master Dai, the president of the Buddhist Association of Canada, and abbot of Jansan Temple. It is a joy to be here today, gathered in a sacred space of Thornhill Catholic Church, among peoples of many faiths and tradition, united in a spirit of peace. I wish to thank the organizer of this year, the annual Peace Milk, for creating such a meaningful and compassionate tradition. In a world facing so much conflicts and uncertainty, your efforts to bring peoples together through faith, food, and friendship is truly inspiring. Through today's gathering and its themes promoting cultural understanding through religious art, we are reminded that art and spirituality can calm hearts and bring peace to our society. Art, like faith, is a universal language that transcends borders. It speaks where the word falls short, reminding us that all human beings long for beauty, truth, and connections. Religious art expressions this longing to make visible what we hold sacred, whether it is the stained glass of cathedral, elegant flows of Islamic calligraphies, and in intricate Hindu mandalas, or the embroidered work of the Tehran stitch-by-stitch project. Each one is a proof prayer in color and form. In Buddhism, one beautiful example is the Tibetan Thangka, a sacred skull painting that emerged over 1,000 years ago on the Qinghai Tibet plateaus. A Thangka is both an artwork and a meditation. Artists paint Buddha and Bodhisattva using a mineral pigment and gold, following precise spiritual proportions described in the scriptures. Each breaststone is guided by a prayer, a discipline we call in Chinese 纯主明心, meaning to attune the heart through mindfulness and compassion. Through this practice, the art itself becomes a path to awakening. Thangka also embodies cultural harmony. It weaves together influence from China, India, Nepal, and Central Asia, a living symbol of unity through diversity. Just a few weeks ago, on October 16, the Wutaisan Buddhist Garden in Ontario opened a Canada's largest ever Thangka exhibition titled Attuning the Heart Through Discipline. So I just want to show you the message from our Prime Minister that regarding for the art exhibition, Thangka exhibitions. So it's still ongoing. That's why I didn't bring any artwork on the show. So and on over the 50 Thangka masterpieces created by young Tibetan artists from Rabana County, Sichuan, are now on display. These artists are part of the Rabana Intangible Cultural Heritage Association, which is training youth free of charge to preserve this sacred art for future generations. This exhibition is more an artistic event. It is a bridge of understanding between cultures, faith, and generation. For those who have not yet visited, I warmly invite you to come to our Wutaisan Buddhist Garden, a magnificent 535 acres sanctuary located between Peterborough County and the city of Kawata Lakes, just about 100 kilometers from Toronto. Inspired by Tang Dynasty architecture, it features the main Buddha Hall, the Avalokiteshvara Hall, and Siddhikapa Hall, and Matsushri Hall, surrounded by bell and drums towers, gardens of peonies, roses, and lavender, and even a jade Buddha hall housing 88 jade Buddhas. When fully complete, it will serve as a center for religions, culture, art, education, and environmental harmony, a shining contribution to Canada's culture and spiritual landscape. The current Thangka art exhibitions will continue there until November 10, 2025, and I sincerely encourage you all to visit and experience its beauty and stillness for yourself. As we now share our peace meal, let's remember that what we truly nourish us is not only what we eat, but what we understand. The art of Thangka teaches patience, discipline, reverence for life, and reminded us the peace begins in the heart that truly sees. Once again, my heartfelt thanks to St. Luke Catholic Church, the Mosaic Interfaith Committee, and all who make this gathering possible. May the Spirit today's peace meal continues to guide us as we each become artists of compassion, shaping a world where faith and friendships can coexist in harmony. Thank you, and may peace be with you all. And so the next speaker is Robbie Corey Weiss, if I pronounce correctly. Sorry.
Shalom Aleichem. Works the same in Hebrew and Arabic. And I'm Rabbi Corey Weiss at Temple Har Zion. Have we got us going? And Greg, thank you so much for wrangling everybody's PowerPoints today. There we go. Okay. So when you think of Jewish art, what comes to mind? Maybe it is a painting by Marc Chagall. That's the next slide. Okay. Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Oh, we were at the end. There we go. It ends the way it begins. Chagall. I've got him on my tie also today. Maybe it is a beautifully written Torah scroll. The art of calligraphy is important in Jewish tradition as well, or maybe it's nothing, because isn't Judaism the religion that forbids images? That's actually where the story begins. The second of the Aseret HaDibrot, the Ten Commandments, says, "You shall not make for yourself a graven image." In a world full of idols, gods of wood and stone, the Israelites, the earliest Jews, made a radical claim that God is beyond all form. The infinite one cannot be carved, contained, or captured. So yes, Judaism carries a deep caution about images, but it's not anti-art, it's anti-idolatry. There's a big difference, because the same Torah that forbids idols also describes in loving detail the building of the Mishkan. This is an artistic rendering of it, the portable sanctuary in the wilderness, a breathtaking work of sacred design. There are woven curtains, golden cherubim, vessels of silver and gold and bronze. Beauty isn't the problem. The problem is mistaking the object for the ultimate truth, a theme I think we've heard many times already today. Art in Judaism is meant to, is that for me? No? Okay. Is meant to point beyond itself. And that idea runs deep in Jewish thought. When the Torah in the book of Exodus introduces the artist Bezalel, whose name becomes the name of the Israeli National Art Institute, the craftsman who was chosen to build the sanctuary, it says that God filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, with understanding, and with knowledge. The first person in the Bible described as filled with the divine Spirit isn't a prophet or a priest, it's an artist. Bezalel becomes a co-creator, using human imagination to express divine inspiration. And that is how Judaism understands creativity. Human beings, we are told in the first chapter of Genesis, are made B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of God, which doesn't mean we look like God, because God doesn't look like anything, but that we share God's creative impulse. When we shape, compose, or design, we're continuing the same sacred act that began with Yehi Or, let there be light. Through history, Jews have expressed that creativity in different ways, sometimes cautiously, sometimes exuberantly. Ancient synagogues in the Galilee, the north of Israel, have extraordinary mosaics, images of the zodiac, biblical heroes, even the hand of God reaching down from heaven. In the Middle Ages and beyond, Jewish scribes illuminated manuscripts with gold leaf. They decorated ketubot, Jewish marriage contracts with flowers, vines, and birds. Ritual objects like menorahs, candelabras, and Torah crowns shimmered with artistry. Each was a way of saying that holiness deserves beauty. In the modern world, Jewish artists found new languages for old longings. Marc Chagall's floating figures and dreamlike colors evoke exile, memory, and hope. Amedeo Modigliani's portraits, with their elongated faces and deep eyes, seem to search for something beyond the surface. Contemporary Israeli artists often explore the tension between sacred and secular, land and spirit. Even when their work isn't explicitly religious, it often wrestles with profoundly Jewish questions: how to find holiness in a fractured world, how to see the divine amid imperfection. But Judaism's relationship to art isn't only about objects, it's also about imagination, about how we create meaning. The Jewish tradition itself is remarkably artistic. The rabbis of the Talmud build entire worlds of possibility out of a single verse. If you've ever been to our Torah study, we sometimes only get through a single verse on Shabbat, and it's all good. Midrash, which is our ancient storytelling practice, fills in the spaces between lines of Scripture. It's theology through creativity, interpretation as art. And Jewish ritual, too, is deeply aesthetic. Lighting Shabbat candles, braiding a challah, the bread that we use for Shabbat, building a sukkah, the small hut that we build in our backyards during the holiday of Sukkot, which happened a month or so ago. Each one is a creative act that transform the ordinary into the sacred. They are performances of faith, art woven into the rhythm of life. So Judaism's answer to the question, can religion and art coexist, is a confident yes. So long as art is in conversation with reverence and beauty serves a purpose beyond itself. Art becomes a language of encounter between human and divine, between self and other, between what is visible and what remains unseen. And that, I think we've already heard, is where Judaism meets other faiths. Every tradition represented here today wrestles with the same question. How do we give form to the formless? How do we express what is beyond words? Judaism's approach is to create carefully, to make beauty that opens windows, not builds walls, to let color, sound, and symbol remind us of the sacredness that can't quite be shown. When I look at Jewish art, from an ancient mosaic to a Chagall painting, I don't see a contradiction. I see a conversation. I see people trying again and again to glimpse the invisible through human hands. And maybe that's what art is at its best, an attempt to see the unseen, to make the ineffable tangible, if for only a moment. Judaism teaches that we cannot see God directly, but we can sense the divine in what we create, in a painting, a poem, a melody, a kind gesture. Every act of creativity, large or small, is a continuation of that ancient sentence, Yehi Or, let there be light. Thank you. And now, I would like to invite Father Mark Van Patten, who will speak to us on behalf of Christianity.
This is just a little something different to what we've kind of been focusing on. I'm going to just speak briefly through this painting and then some music about how art and music can work together and how they bring us closer to our faith and how they help us. Music understands Scripture by looking at the art, and it all works together. The painting at the front here is a portrait of a biblical story called The Prodigal Son. And if one reads The Prodigal Son just briefly, it's about a wayward son who drifts away. He inherits a lot of money, and he decides to go off and squander it on bad things. But he comes to a conversion and decides to come back to his father and ask for forgiveness. And through this forgiveness, he comes back and is accepted by his father. And the other son, well, they were having a big party to celebrate his return. The other son was jealous. And the father said to the other son, "What I have, you will always have. But we had to rejoice today because your brother was lost, and now he is found." And the message is, we rejoice when someone comes back. It is never too late to come back and find the Lord. And that's the beautiful story of the prodigal son, and it's told in the painting. And there's beautiful hymns about it, and in the Christian faith, we will listen to the hymn and look at the painting, and it'll tell the story for us of the prodigal son and bring us closer to God. So that's how paintings and music and the faith in Scripture work together. And Greg's going to sing a song now, and we're all going to sing a song. We got a choir to sing now and bring us closer to the Lord. Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Yeah. So we heard so many beautiful things said about music. So we're going to sing a song written by a Canadian priest, Father Eugene O'Reilly, and he wrote it specifically for this story of the prodigal son. Father, I have sinned. It's obviously all about forgiveness that God gives us so that we can pass on that forgiveness to other people. If any of you have heard it before, we're going to have the words on the screens, so by all means, you're welcome to join us. Nice message. And I'd like to, Fran, is that okay if we move on to the next song? Okay, great. We have flex time here. I think many of you are familiar with the song, the prayer of St. Francis, "Make me a channel of your peace." This is our last song, and it's also what we are all here for. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Joe Costa, who is a teacher at St. Robert's School, and he's brought along many pieces of art of his grade 11 students there. They'll be on display back there when you eat. I'll welcome Joe Costa to the podium. Please give him a welcome round.
Sorry, my name is Joe Cara. It's okay. I'm a religion teacher at St. Robert's Catholic High School, and I was asked to bring some of the art. The beauty of St. Robert's Catholic High School is that in grade 11, every student takes world religions. So they learn about the Jewish, the Christian, the Muslim, the Hindu, the Buddhist, the Sikh, the Confucian, Taoist traditions. And so part of my classroom is to present different celebrations, different ideas, and some of the artwork is displayed in the hallway. Inspired by Fran and Mosaic, because I attended a long time ago, and Paul McKenna's Scarborough Missions, I got interested in interfaith dialogue so much that at school we started Prism Interfaith Dialogue Club, and we've been running conferences every year. Last year it was Be a Peacemaker, and next April it will be Humble. So every year we pick a theme, we invite people. So I thank Fran and Paul McKenna for inspiring me to continue the work you do here in the high schools. And so I wish you all the best. It's terrific activities, and all yours. Thank you.
I'm sorry, we've been running a little late. We're almost finished, so thank you for staying in. At this point, I just want to acknowledge that we have Minister Tim Hodgson, Minister of Energy and Natural Resources, and the Member of Parliament for Markham Thornhill, if you'd like to stand. And I'm not sure if she arrived yet. MPP Laura Smith, are you here? Yeah. Would you like to stand? And Reverend Dr. Louis Mello from the Office for Ecumenical and Interfaith Relations from the Archdiocese of Toronto. Oh, there he is. And I know we have a number of Torah stitchers here. Brina, Marty was involved, so I'd like to just acknowledge any of our Torah stitchers that are in the audience, if you'd like to stand, and you'll be able to see And at this point, I'd like to invite Shavnis up just to close off, and then we will have the blessing over the bread, and then we'll go eat.
Good evening, and thank you, friend. On behalf of Mosaic Interfaith, with my co-chair, friend Thesis I, Shabni Sivji, would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for attending today's annual peace meal. And of course, the topic today we had was promoting cultural understanding through religious art. We were able to today, with the presence of our distinguished guest, our Minister Tim Hobson and MP Laura Smith, along with the key leaders of the respective faith groups, really have a clear understanding and a journey towards how art is in all those respective faith groups. So even if I were to recap and, even try and highlight what we learned today, I was myself thinking there was so much to learn and understand about all the faiths and how art is such a way, a language of all the respective faiths' way of expressing religion. So in this Zoroastrians, we heard about munajat, and that was amazing because just the word munajat is so similar to what I know in my faith of Islam. In the Sikh religion, we heard about Gurbani. In the Hindu, Rangoli. In Buddhism, we talked about the Rangaba art exhibition. So much is happening. In Islam, we heard about calligraphy, the art of all the tribes of ways the expression is in mosques. In Judaism, the art of creativity. In Christianity, we also learned about how the churches and the expression of music. And similarly, in the Jewish faith, there's so much similarities in the Abraham faiths, where you talk about light being an expression of art. Also, what was shared by Patricia Little and her group is the wonderful work of Stitches and the Tapestry of Spirit. What a way of Mosaic to be able to have this platform to showcase all the good work that is being done and come together on an evening like today to really share the wonderful things all faiths are doing, the similarities, and having a way of expression that we enjoyed today. So on that note, my co-chair Francis and I would like to thank each and every faith group leader who came up and presented, did all the hard work for putting together their presentation. The wonderful display you saw everywhere, and you will continue to see when you go out there to share a meal. Thank you everyone who brought the dishes, the vegan dishes that we are going to enjoy today. On the Islamic calligraphy, the lady Fatima Sugra has coasters where you can have your name calligraphed in Arabic. do take it. It's something that's a gift from the Islamic community. It's wonderful. I use it on my bedside all the time to see my name in Arabic. So please do go out there, enjoy the exhibitions out there, and of course, please stay while we all faith groups together will come up and break bread, and then we will all walk out to the back hall to enjoy. And of course, you cannot end by thanking St. Luke's Church. Mona Monroe, Greg Byard, the excellent choir group. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the individuals that helped with the PowerPoints. We could not have had a better location to do this. We got the convenience of parking, the seating, and Mona Monroe makes it all possible. Let's have a loud round of applause for all of them. Thank you again.
Let's do that.